How do you plunge from lighting up the Super Bowl with Roar to lighting up the group chat with Girl? Is she okay? Her new single is syncing on TikTok faster than yesterday's meme, and rumor has it the fallout is dragging her picture-perfect romance with Orlando Bloom straight toward the rocks. Is this the moment a pop icon finally runs out of spark? Or the storm before one last blinding comeback? Summer 2010, radio programmers joking that it was easier to list the hours without a Katy Perry song. Teenage Dream tied Michael Jackson's record No. One singles from one album and the candy-colored tour grossed over $180 million. 2024, and that armor looks paper-thin. Her comeback album 143 opened at a respectable-ish no 6. Streaming numbers flatlined so quickly that insiders started calling it the ghost drop. One brutal review sneered that the record sounded like an AI trained on 2010 pop and leftover TikTok beats. And for once, Stan Twitter nodded in agreement instead of sharpening pitchforks. Worse, the market she once owned has moved on. Gen Z's attention is glued to Sabrina Carpenter's sly wink, Chappell Roan's glitter tears, and Tyla's Afropop sway new voices that make Katy's pastel wigs feel like museum pieces. Labels live and die by momentum, and 143 didn't just stall. It sent the whole Perry machine rolling backward down the chart. Behind closed doors, the mood shifted from confident to code red. Promo budgets were slashed mid-campaign late night. Appearances quietly canceled. And one DJ scrapped a planned remix because, quote, nobody wants to remix a sinking ship. Rock-solid brand. More like a game of Jenga after the critical block's been yanked. But chart collapse is only the opening act. Because while the numbers cratered, something even more fragile started to crack the relationship that once looked like a Hollywood fairy tale. And that's where things get messy. Katy's comeback blueprint began with a track that looked perfect on a pitch deck, Woman's World. On paper, it had everything glitter bomb chorus, TikTok-ready chant, Rosie Therivator visuals. The single dropped on July 11, 2024 as the lead shot for 143, blasted out by Capitol's promo cannons and stamped feminist anthem in bold. But the credits told a different story. Curated and produced by Dr. Luke Gottwald, the same hitmaker still dogged by years-long assault allegations from Kesha. The backlash was instant and vicious. Fans who once painted their faces like Snoop Dogg in a throne memes now trended #read the room, Katy. Think pieces piled up overnight. The New Yorker called the song a loopable deodorant commercial and pointed out that teaming up with Dr. Luke turned the supposed girl power message into self-parody. Even casual listeners wondered why a woman's world needed a producer. Accused of silencing one, streams cratered, radio curbed ads, and woman's world flatlined outside the top 40 within 10 days. Capitol's marketing deck didn't include public apology, so Katy doubled down, posting behind the scenes clips captioned, "You can do anything, even satire." The internet rolled its collective eyes. Memes compared the lyric, sexy, confident, so intelligent, to an AI trying to write year 2010 Tumblr quotes after 3 espresso shots. Reviewers echoed the sentiment. One viral TikTok stitched the chorus over a vacuum cleaner ad and still called the ad deeper. The single meant to start the era had instead poisoned it. Lifeline, the neon algorithm known as TikTok. That pivot, however, spun the chaos into a new dimension. First came the videos. Katy flossing in a holographic hard hat. Comments filled with no, and midlife TikTok crisis faster than you could tap, not interested. On Gen Z's For You pages, sound snips from Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan were devouring the feed while Katy's clips languished at 40% completion. The algorithm had spoken. Nostalgia is fine, desperation is scrollable. Capitol kept shoveling coal. They paid influencers to duet Woman's World. But most turned the gig into punchline content. One creator literally boxed herself inside a cardboard washing machine labeled Vintage Pop Cycle. On Reddit, longtime Katy Cats admitted the campaign felt 4 to 5 years too late, blaming management for betting everything on a viral dance when TikTok had moved on from dances altogether. Internal metrics were uglier. Viewer drop-off after 7 seconds, save rate in the single digits. What was scripted as Katy's grand Gen Z handshake became a case study in platform whiplash. Roblox-style green screen backdrops, emojistorm teasers, each one nudging the comment sections from irony to outright pity by week 3. The label's Slack channel supposedly lit up with an emergency ideas spreadsheet. One bullet read, rent capybara, teach it choreo, post Friday. Another, invite Addison Rae to roast S, embrace the meme. When your comeback plan involves hiring the audience to laugh at you, the cliff edge is in sight. Capitol's last-ditch plan. Flood every outlet with exclusive behind-the-scenes clips and pray something sticks. But inside the boardroom, talk was already drifting to budget freezes and a quieter word: hiatus. And while spreadsheets burned, the home front was starting to fracture exactly where we're headed next. Asterisk, the first week figures for 143 hit Capitol records like an ice bath, 48K units. Gone from the Billboard 200 by week 2, Katy's shortest run ever. Inside the tower on Vine Street, optimism flipped to triage. One exec, quoted in a leak that spread through Stan Twitter, muttered the new mantra: "If it's not trending by noon, cut it." Budgets for late-night spots evaporated. The glow hint the dark vinyl variant canceled. Because the faucet might close by Friday, Capitol's Slack reportedly birthed an emergency ideas sheet. Rent a capybara, teach it the chorus. Release the deluxe reissue. December, when spreadsheets turn into improv, you know the runway's gone. Outside the label bubble, collaborators began slipping away. A fashion house pulled wardrobe sponsorship due to scheduling conflicts. Translation: nobody wants glitter on their resume if the ship sinks. Even media partners sensed the chill. Forbes framed the rollout as one of pop's roughest returns, hammering the Dr. Luke backlash and the album's AI karaoke vibe. Yet charts and critics were only half the problem. Every fistful of confetti Katy threw to plug the leak sprayed straight into her personal life. Because when the money stops flowing, the stress doesn't end at home. The cracks were already starting to show. Asterisk, sources close to the couple say the album flop didn't just nuke spreadsheets. It torched the vibe in Katyland. People magazines. Insiders describe her as deeply frustrated, spiraling over reviews, ticket pacing, even muted Instagram engagement pressure that caused tension. With Orlando Bloom, friends noticed the shift first. Fewer flirty comments under each. Others posts, no red carpet arm locks since early spring, and a lot of solo mileage on Orlando's frequent flyer app. Funny until you remember retrograde happens 3 times a year, behind the gated driveway. The mood is said to oscillate between polite silence and those hot and fast arguments Katy once bragged about in interviews. Now, the fights end not with passionate makeups, but with separate hotel bookings. Insiders whisper they're basically roommates who co-parent, intersecting only for Daisy's preschool drop-off and the occasional FaceTime bedtime story. Orlando. For a comeback he never believed in, one source summed it up. He loves her, but he's tired of living inside a headline. Trimming their couple pics to just the important ones, the quiet can feel merciful until it feels final, and that leads to the next delicate question: what's Orlando's exit strategy, and how does he rewrite his own storyline while the Perry circus spins on? That chess move is coming up next. While Katy fought the algorithm, Orlando began scrubbing the timeline. A Page 6 insider says the actor pulled back weeks ago, archiving several couple photos and telling friends the romance is basically over. People's follow-up paints an even colder picture. Months of tension, separate hotel itineraries, and a relationship pretty much done. But unlike Katy's public scramble, Orlando's pivot feels surgically planned. Step 1. Reclaim his own story. On Live, with Kelly and Mark, he hyped to the edge, a Peacock docuseries where he devised heliboards, Andy's cold plunges at dawn. The takeaway? He's the fearless, grounded dad chasing real-world stakes, not TikTok trends. Step 2. Stack the resume. A glossy official cover touts his comeback comedy deep cover and hints at intentional time away from the spotlight. To reset, even Pirates gossip blogs buzz that he's open to hoisting the black pearl one more time. Publicists call it preloading sympathy. If the split becomes official, Orlando's feed already frames him as the steady parent leveling up, while Katy's feed is, well, glitter, confetti, and apology posts. One veteran crisis PR rep not on the payroll likened the move to chess. He's positioning 3 turns ahead, while everyone else scrambles for a pawn. Whether intentional or instinctive, the quiet retreat is working. Entertainment outlets now tag him as family-first thrills junkie, a click-friendly archetype light years away from pop star chaos. And with the emotional airbag deflating at home, Katy's next decision is no longer about streaming numbers. It's survival mode for her entire legacy. Inside label boardrooms, the verdict is brutal. After 143 debuted with just 48K units and a Metacritic low of 37, execs have started labeling Katy a high-risk investment. Australian tabloids go further, calling the rollout a nosedive that could irreparably damage her reputation. Translation: no budget for KP8 until she proves the audience is still there. That leaves 2 radically different playbook. Fight. Pull a Mariah-style retreat. Ditch the wigs. Cut the TikTok gimmicks. Lock in a visionary producer, then reappear with a record so undeniable the internet can't drag it. Flight. Take the Beyoncé route and pivot to ventures that don't need chart math. Vegas residencies, brand licensing, maybe that animated film she's teased. Fade out, ignore the warnings, double down on emojicore and risk becoming a pop culture punchline a la Iggy's post-fancy spiral, whispers inside. Capitals suggest a forced timeout is already drafted. No new singles, no tour extensions, just strategic silence until Q3 2026. The danger? Pop memory resets fast. By the time the dust settles, Sabrina, Chappell, and Tyla will own every playlist slot Katy once called home. Whichever road she chooses, the hourglass is flipped. The next move won't just decide an album cycle. It will decide whether Katy Perry's name lands in comeback lore or becomes the cautionary tale every A&R intern studies on day one. From chart topper to trend chaser, Katy Perry's decade-long journey just slammed into its hardest reality check yet. 143 vanished from the rankings. The Dr. Luke backlash torched goodwill. Label budgets froze, and Orlando Bloom quietly slipped into his solo arc. Those aren't separate headlines, they're dominoes, each one hitting the next until everything she built hangs by a glitter-frayed thread. So here's the line in the sand. Either Katy pauses, listens, and gives the world a sound so sharp it slices through the noise, or she keeps chasing hashtags until the internet pegs her as a walking throwback filter. Industry insiders say the window for a Phoenix moment closes fast. Fans say they'll show up if the music's real. Everyone else is already watching tiny desk sets, scrolling past pastel wigs like yesterday's AR filter. Which way does she jump? Total reinvention, strategic silence, or a final tumble into nostalgia meme oblivion? The next headline will answer that, and it could drop any day now. Tell me in the comments, is Katy primed for a Mariah-level resurrection, or are we witnessing the last glitter burst? Smash subscribe so you're first to know when her next move lights up. Pour burns out.